In this session, we're going to create a basic composite image. So this will involve two pictures, your subject and your camera. So let's open up the subject. Okay, zoom in onto the subject, this man here. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to path this guy out, right? So change to your path tool, B. Then we'll start pathing him, making a selection. Alright, so here's the person fully pathed out. So let's just take a look. You should have a nice selection like this. So what we're going to do is to make a selection from him. Click on this, selection from path. And then you should have him. Alright, let's go and do something before we copy him. Let's go to select. Okay, feather. Okay, what this feather does is it actually smooths the selection. So it looks nicer when you paste it over to another background. So usually I will just use 1 or 2 pixels. So let's change to 2. Press OK. You won't see anything happen to this, but as you cut and paste it into another file, it will look nicer. So how do we cut this or copy this? We press Ctrl C. So let's bring up the camera image. Alright, so what we need to do is we can't paste directly onto this layer. Why? Because if we paste it onto this layer, we wouldn't be able to move the man independently. So remember, we always need to paste it on a new layer. So let's create a new transparency layer. Let's name it man. Press OK. Now press Ctrl V to paste him. You'll see this thing called the floating selection. Okay, press this button. Okay, this is called the anchor button to allow it to merge down to the previous layer that we just created. So there you have it. And then you can move him around without affecting the original image. Okay, so what do we need to do next? Okay, we need to scale him. Okay, if you look at the original composite, so this is the original file. So let's scale him down. Okay, when you do a scaling, you need to click on the chain and then scale. This will prevent it from being distorted. So let's scale him down. Yeah, so this is good. Press M for move. Okay, position him in a way that it looks like it's looking inside the camera. So now we're going to need to create his shadow. Right, so we've got to duplicate this layer for his shadow. So click on this button to duplicate him. Okay, then we'll rename this shadow. Okay, move him out so that you can see him. Okay, before we position him, we need to make sure he's a dark silhouette. Okay, so let's go to colors, levels, right? This thing here is called a histogram. Okay, what it does is it analyzes the image. So on the left hand side here is where all the dark values are. On the right is the bright values, and the middle part is the midtones. So if you look at this image here, it's quite dark. So that's why all the data here is on the left hand side near the dark shadows. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to click on this and drag it all the way, and you will see that it becomes very dark. Okay, so press OK. Okay, you know when we have shadows, sometimes it's not as harsh as this. So what we need to do is to blur it, go to filters, blur, Gaussian blur. Right? You'll see a preview of the effect itself. So now the default is 5. Let's change it to probably about 20. Press OK. And then the shadow will be a bit blur. Right? Now we're going to move him and align him properly. So we got to flip this guy. So how do you flip him? There's a flip tool here, okay, or Shift F. Once you press that, you should see two options below for the flip. One is horizontal, one is vertical. So if you select horizontal, this is what happens. When you click on it, it flips horizontally. So we want to choose the vertical instead. Click it, and it flips. Okay, you notice that it doesn't really align properly, right? See, it doesn't really align properly. So we got to rotate this guy. So go ahead, press Shift R to rotate. Okay, put your mouse inside, click, and drag. Okay, and adjust accordingly. So maybe around here. Alright, press enter to confirm. Go to M for your move tool. So something like this. Right? So now that we have the shadow, the last thing we need to do is to put the light inside the camera. Okay? You remember the original image? The light comes from here, so this part will not be affected. And therefore we need to do a selection on the camera back itself. So let's just zoom in. Okay, so we're going to do it on this layer, the original layer. So what I'll normally do is I'll duplicate the layer. This is a good practice because this can be your backup in case something wrong happens. So click on your camera layer. So maybe it's camera. And then we're going to use the path tool again to do a quick selection over the camera back, the back of the camera. Okay, make a selection over it. So now that we have the camera back selected, what we need to do is to invert the selection now. Okay, because we want to affect the rest of the image other than the camera back. So let's go to select, click on invert. So now you should see that this part here is also selected. Okay, so everything outside of the camera back is not selected. Okay, if we don't do that and we let's just go back. Let's just invert it back again. So now this is the selection on the camera back. If we don't invert, this is what happens. Let's say we put the light now. Go to filters, light and shadow, lighting effects. Okay, this is part where you see the thumbnail, so you can actually move the light to the place that you want. So let's put it here. Press OK. You see, the filter only affects the area selected. So we don't want that. We want the filter to affect what is outside of the selection. So let's press Ctrl Z to undo that. Go to select, invert. Now let's repeat the lighting effects. You can click this, or you can go to light and shadow, lighting effects again, and just press OK. So now you should see the light here. Right. By the way, do you know how to unselect everything? You can actually go to select, none, or you can just press the shortcut, which is Shift Ctrl A. So let's do that. And there you have your basic composite image.